Well, in a recent Emerson poll, Washington, D.C. residents were asked if they would vote to find Donald Trump guilty for challenging the 2020 election. I mean, he just raised some questions about it, like so many other Democrats before him have done. And 64% said they already believe Trump to be guilty, which clearly he could not have a fair trial there. Joining us now to discuss, senior advisor to President Trump, Jason Miller. Jason, does that poll surprise you?
Well, not being a part of the legal team, I can't really speak to what cases are going to go forward, what cases might be delayed or be dismissed. But taking a look at what the Joe Biden insurance policy looks like right now, of course, the Get Trump effort is going to look for Democrat municipalities and try to push forward with some of this legal witch hunt. We see it in almost every example of where they're bringing this up. But I think voters are pretty smart. I think they're going to see through this and realize exactly what they're trying to do, which is to try to stack it against President Trump because he's beating Joe Biden.
Jason, I want to remind everyone that that's Washington, D.C. That's a sampling from there, a major metropolitan area. Do you think that is a fair representation of how the country feels? Or, again, this is D.C. Now, obviously, that's what the case is, but your take on that?
Oh, well, D.C. is obviously a very strong Democratic city. I think, Hillary and Biden, I think, got roughly, 92% in the city. Whatever it was a huge number. But ultimately, though, I think, again, as we take a look at the nonsense of what the Democrats and Joe Biden and Merrick Garland trying to push ahead with, I do think that voters have a pretty clear sense, and it reflects in the polling, whether it's a plurality or an outright majority, that this is all politicized.
Absolutely. And I've noticed it on social media a lot where we're seeing blacks for Trump. They're in Chicago and Philly and D.C., New York City, everywhere you go. And now we're having polling that actually backs that up. Black voters are shifting allegiances. According to a recent poll, Trump's support among black voters is now at an impressive 20%, while Biden's approval among the same group has plummeted by 30 points. What do you think about this?
Yeah, that's a great point, Lydia. And this, I think, is probably the most important survey that we're going to see all week. The fact of the matter is that 3/4 of all Americans think that inflation is getting worse. 61% of Americans live paycheck to paycheck. 58% of Americans think the overall economy is getting worse, which, by the way, it has. These last 3 months for job growth have been the worst since back before the pandemic. Voters are sick and tired of Joe Biden and what the Democrats are giving them. When they shut down the energy exploration, when they started printing money we don't have, that led to inflation. Voters are upset. And I tell you, the Democrats have been taking the African-American vote for granted for decades. And I think this time it's going to really bite them in the you-know-what.
Yeah, Jason, all minorities, too. I want to add in the Latin community there, too. And a lot of the people who've come to this country, coming here legally, trying to escape things not going well in their native lands here. Don't you think when they kind of see what's going on with all these indictments coming down against our former president, they might think to themselves, I left a place like that. I'm coming here, and I'm going to go with former President Trump here because I've seen what has happened in other places.
Well, the sad reality is America is still a much safer place than many other countries. But when you talk about the banana republic aspect of what we see other governments do when they go and essentially bring the weaponized legal system against their political opponents, yeah, for a lot of people, that reminds them of countries that they fled. And when you talk about actually people coming, some come legally, which is great. Many come illegally. August was the worst month we've ever had for illegals crossing our southern border. Another disaster under Joe Biden. That's why we need President Trump back in office. We need him to secure the southern border like he had it before.
All right, Jason Miller, thank you so much for joining us.